I grew up the son of a set designer. That was a big part of my childhood, playing around in the drafting office, but also in the carpentry shop. Even after graduating, that when you're working as an architect, you don't have all of the answers. Like you're working with your client, even on smaller homes, or you still are going to engage with a contractor. It's a house that is designed completely to be as low carbon as possible, which led down a path of material research. What do you think is the hardest part of being creative? This is part of my superpower.
Hello everyone, welcome to Creating Blueprints. Today I'm so excited about this interview. Finally we could schedule this because you cannot believe how many times we reschedule and reschedule. I think that our first email was like probably October. I don't know, I can't remember, but
it might
was
have
like
been the summer.
I mean, it was like a long time ago, but yeah, finally we have you here, and thank you so much for accepting this invitation. And you are here in Creative Blueprints. Your name?
Frank Farkash
With
Moontower Design Build.
Okay, perfect. So I'm so happy to have you here, and thank you guys for watching this video. And we will be learning more about this company. And now in this season, I wanted to change a little bit the dynamic of this. So in the past, I was reading the questions, but now we have a little box here that probably you can see, or probably you cannot see a lot. But your luck will guide this conversation. So there are some questions there that Frank will be picking one of them, and we will be discussing some of them. And so we can learn more about yourself, more about Moontower. So that is very exciting. And so first I want to ask you, and I would love that you can share a little bit more about yourself. What did you study? If you study something related with the construction or not. I don't know, more about yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Mitzi. This is great. I know it took a while, but I really appreciate your patience.
Yeah.
And yes, in terms of about me, I grew up the son of a set designer.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a big part of my childhood, playing around in the drafting office, but also in the carpentry shop. My parents ran this business together. At the height of it, in the 90s, they had moved on from theater work, and they were doing trade shows and exhibits and even things for toy companies like Mattel Toys or Kenner Toys. They would build out these themed environments where the toys would be demoed for wholesale buyers, like the Toys R Us and Walmarts and of the world.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, so I get to sweep up sawdust out in the wood shop. I got to play with electrical racers in the drafting rooms. It was just a really formative environment for me to be around both the construction and the design world.
Wow, my husband is set designer as well.
Oh, wow.
So that's amazing.
That is so cool.
So yeah.
And he's active doing it professionally.
Yeah, he is working in the UT. So he's a professor in the UT in the theater department. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So and how brought you to the construction part? How you get motivated to be part of this?
So when it came to construction, it was really about seeing a gap while I was working for architects.
Okay.
I went to architecture school by way of going to a liberal arts school in San Antonio, Trinity University. I was doing like some theater courses in set design and art history and things like that, but had a real interest in architecture. So that's where I finished my undergraduate degree, was moving up to Austin, and immediately tried to find work with architects. And it was a pretty common theme. even after graduating, that when you're working as an architect, you don't have all of the answers. Like you're working with your client even on smaller homes, or you still are going to engage with a contractor. And it's a really exciting time in early design to be trying out a lot of different ideas, but it can be a pretty sobering experience to then kind of encourage your homeowners to find out how much all these ideas are going to cost from an investment standpoint. And I just always thought that was a tough experience for the homeowner, but also like for these architects, because you're working on a project, you get really invested in it, but oftentimes you have to make some pretty drastic changes because a lot of times homeowners are moving through this process for the first time. So there's a lot of education that comes with the entire design process.
That's great.
Yeah. So as architecture work slowed down, I was really interested in construction. It slowed down in 2008 during the financial crisis. So that's what led me to pick up work where I could, and that led to being a framer essentially for an architect that I was working with, and then looking for more of that kind of work, more carpentry, building decks, bathroom remodels, that kind of scale of project. And the idea to play both roles, both the architect and the builder, was born in those early projects. That was when we started to do design build.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds great. So, one question more before these little ones.
Sure.
What do you think that is your happy place?
Oh yeah. Well, my happy place is home with my family.
Okay.
Yeah, I love spending time with my wife and my kids, and I mean, I guess like before that, with just her, like we really like going to like a beach vacation. Like that's just a happy.
You got
place
like a specific place for vacation that you like?
We went to Tulum for our honeymoon.
Oh, great!
And it was just really peaceful, and we loved it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you ready for the questions?
Yes, I
All
love
right.
it.
Okay, so here's the little box. Probably it's too loud to see here, but go ahead. Pick the first one.
We in the kind of theater education, like in Greek theater, I think sometimes the chorus or somebody would have like a jar with different maybe outcomes.
Yeah.
You know, like reach in and pull out and see how the play would go. Were there any mentors or role models who influenced your career path? That's a good one. I think when I think of role models and mentors, it's family and professional, like mostly.
Yeah.
And even a friend too. So I'm gonna pick. I think I'd have to start with like my dad as a mentor. You know, like he was such a formative part of my childhood, but also part of like fueling my interest in creativities. You know, so I think that was the most formative one, and it came from him building toy blocks that I could build with, to make creations on the floor, on the rug, in the bedroom. So cylinders and arches and rectangles and wedges, all those little geometries, and I think like there was a lot of attention that he would put to do things that were fun and that we enjoyed. And so getting to kind of like be encouraged to play creatively was a big part of my childhood, but then also as I grew up and kind of learned how to work, you know, I guess, or like understand the value of work, or understand like the maybe some of the sacrifices that come with running your own company. There was a lot of mentorship there to understand like the balance, the importance of coming home and being together and sharing meals, supporting on weekends and stuff like that, but also that there are some extra hours and extra time or extra discipline, like to open up the building for the shop, or to walk up at night. There's there's a lot of lessons there about doing things right, doing the right thing, and adding layers of detail that nobody's ever going to see, but when you do it right, it ends up in a great final product.
Yeah.
Those are always really fun lessons.
Decor is about everything in the building, so yeah, it has
Yeah.
to be well done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mistakes that are made in the early phases start to magnify if they're unaddressed.
Perfect. All right. So the next one.
Okay.
I didn't say that, but read the question and then you can answer.
Okay. What are some of your most memorable or proudest projects that you've completed so far? Wow. Yeah. Well, I would say the ones that get us engaged in the community from a recognition standpoint tend to be very rewarding because our homeowners are like our primary audience.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so private that sometimes it doesn't feel as complete
Yeah.
as when you're able to share it with a broader audience.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe again, this is part of like the background where in theater, like the work, like a script, isn't complete until a lot of people collaborate on making it come to life, and then it's still not complete until an audience sees it, like that kind of art form. And homes are inherently an art form for private kind of use primarily, but it can be really transformative and exciting when other people get to see it.
Yeah.
Our first experience of that on a bigger scale was the first homes tour where we got to be a builder for a project by Murray Legg. And it was an addition, and it got to be on the AI homes tour, and it was really exciting and transformative experience because you get to see hundreds of people move through a space, and you get to see what they pay attention to and what they enjoy.
Do you remember that someone that, I don't know, like a comment from, I don't know, a homeowner or someone during the tour that will give you like a comment that you really appreciate and you can?
That's a great question. One of the most formative interactions or questions was from a young photographer.
Okay.
Who was a really tall, kind of skinny guy, dark hair, and he was just like in awe, and he was, this is an amazing, work of architecture. This is amazing. And I was like, yeah, this is Murray Legg did this. This is great. I got to be the builder, and he was just so effusive and so engaged and so in awe of this building, which we were at the time, it was a very small company, and I was the project manager on the job, and it was fun and rewarding to be the framer, but also be the GC working with Murray through details, like kind of sending shop drawings back and forth. But this young photographer was like, this is what I want to do. I want to photograph great buildings like this. And it felt so touching because it was a small project. Like, this tour is usually all the museums, big, huge houses, and this was an addition that was a one-bedroom addition.
Okay.
It's also a living room and an office, but it was a really skinny project that was sited around this giant live oak behind his house, and so it had very humble scale. It had a very humble scale to it. That photographer was David Feransky, and he's just a very prolific photographer here in Austin. And I got to kind of just be impacted by his passion for architecture, even in that one tour.
Great. I remember one of your the properties, and I could see the desk with the cork, and that is part of Moontower. If you can share more about that part of Moontower.
Absolutely. Very proud of that more recent project. So Moontower was co-founded by myself, Greg Esparza, and Jeff Munoz.
Okay.
So Greg and I met in architecture school at University of Texas at Austin, and when we were turning a page on I don't know if this was 2018, maybe 2019, we'd kind of come up on a milestone.
Mhm.
And Greg was really excited about being able to work on his personal house.
Yeah.
We started to work on it from a more conventional basis with like really predictable financials and kind of project planning. And as he started to think about what he wanted in his house, the desire for the most healthy, the most environmentally like low impact result was a drive that guided that project. So it's a house that is designed completely to be as low carbon as possible, which led down a path of material research, which led to plants and as much natural materials as possible that were renewable as the solution to build a house that had the smallest carbon footprint.
It was crazy. It was like super complete out of the box. Like I remember that house that was like, you know, it's a building, you know, like the same materials. We are using the same materials all the time, and that was like, is this work?
Right.
So that was crazy.
Yeah, and Greg he put it on his back in terms of like driving this past any convention that we had, like kind of in the office, to say, if I'm going to do this, like, can I not use concrete? Can I not use drywall? Can I not use traditional paints? So to have a house that we used steel piles as the helical anchors as the foundation, like piers, steel frame, and then all CLT structure for floor, walls, and roof. And as you mentioned, the cork is the insulation and the siding on the outside, but none of the walls on the interior were covered with anything. Right? It's this exposed glulam, or cross-laminated timber surface as the interior finish.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. If you can share with me some pictures, I will put here some pictures so you can see the
Absolutely.
amazing property. And so someone is living there. Is this Greg living there?
Yeah, predominantly Greg. And they're also able to have another location in town that they can also spend time at. So they are able to host relatives and family and some visiting, like photo shoots and things like that in the space. But yeah, they might be able to move in more on a full-time basis pretty soon as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So the next one.
Sure.
All yours.
Do you have any specific educational or professional experiences that helped you succeed in the industry? Yes.
Next one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the educational background being a mix of before architecture at the liberal arts school was really informative for me. I was really curious about the non-professional track. I think a lot of people can get this from a totally different undergrad to like a graduate degree in architecture, or vice versa maybe. But for me, the liberal arts education was really interesting. The focus in, I guess I was doing a lot of art history classes, art courses, and some set design. And then interning professionally, sometimes while at school, taking those summers to try to get work was really informative for me as well.
Do you remember a project in school that you, I don't know, that you bring on your mind when you're working, like currently? Like, I don't know, on a specific model or project or on a specific material?
Sure.
I don't know.
I guess I think of, I think it's like images of Brancusi's studio in Paris or something, where there's, I guess I was really fascinated by, I guess, art spaces, or spaces that had to deal with art. And there was this parallel that our professor, Gerlinda Lighting, brought up about traditional buildings that are designed with stairs towards the north side of buildings so that they had really even natural light, so you don't have glare when you're moving in a stairwell. It's like, oh, that's interesting, and how there's a tradition of maybe trying to find really even light in art spaces. So yeah, natural light, I guess, is the thing that always comes up in projects, and the thing that I find the most curious about it is not always about the views out of windows or things that are more direct, but I really love all the indirect light opportunities for natural light.
Yeah, actually we are here in your offices.
Yes.
So that's very, I didn't know that they are located in this east. We are in the east part,
We're
right?
in East Austin on Airport Boulevard.
So, and the offices are amazing. I will take some shoots around here, and the light is something. Like all the interesting nooks where you can get some light are super interesting. So
yeah, it was a fun owned project when we got to get this building. It was really a black box. Like it was literally painted black. It was set up like a CrossFit gym, which was kind of like a failed quinceañera wedding venue before that. So it was like kind of like in between uses. So what we did was peel off the R panel. It's a metal building, and add in some polygal, probably 8 foot tall and like about 40 feet long, like 30 feet long. Panels on the north and south side, so that we could just break up the monotony of the black box, like, and actually have some daylight without reducing the function of all the walls that we need for an office environment.
Yeah, the white is like the completely opposite, and that I feel that the space is like super cool, like relaxed.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's super quiet. I feel like in a library. So no, I love it. I love it. That you have like some plants as well in front. So I love it.
Yeah, it's still, you know, it's a metal building that's been kind of bootstrapped by us.
Yeah.
We're looking at a rearrangement renovation here, so I'd love to show you around in 6 months, hopefully on the other side of some improvements, because it's still pretty rough around the edges in some spots.
Yeah, we always can improve. Yeah, because we are designers and architects, and we can improve everything.
Yes.
We are never satisfied of how everything looks, so that's fine.
But it's been a really fun place for us to have a place to rely on and to experiment with, because we've tried out some different arrangements for our team as we've grown.
Awesome. All right, so the next one.
Okay. What do you think is the hardest part of being creative? This is part of my superpower.
Thanks. Next.
Being creative, it really feels like it's a part of something I've always been drawn to. I talked about at the beginning how it's a part of my childhood, and it's a supported part of my childhood. Even I loved watching cartoons when I was a kid, and loved Roadrunner and Coyote. And
what was your favorite cartoon?
I mean, that one just jumps out in my mind, like Roadrunner and Coyote, and he was just always creating all these contraptions. So yeah, part of me is like permanently thinking that, like the Coyote, you can almost, there's no problem we can't solve.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. So that the hardest part, what is the hardest part? Nothing?
I mean, honestly, like it feels very, when it comes to creativity, it's just fun. Like creativity, problem solving is fun. We talk about like with our construction team. We were just having a conversation about it at lunch. The communication year over year always comes up as the biggest indicator of success for a project. So when it comes to creativity, it can come from everywhere. Like good ideas can come from all parts of the team. When we're building with architects, and we're working with their their vision, their creativity. How we are able to build it all comes down to communication. The visual communication in the drawings that we're given like sets the floor, right? But we can go even higher when it comes to owner architecture meetings, when it comes to our collaborations with the different subcontractors and specialty trades. We can unlock better and better creative solutions just through having conversations and asking questions. So like I think that's a hard part, because that's where the collaboration comes in, and it's not oneself. So like you can get to better levels if you go there. It takes more work. It takes more patience, and it takes a lot of follow-up and collaboration.
But also again, it's like polishing your original idea. It's like just making it better.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. When it works really well, I absolutely think that the designers and architects feel like the project has gotten better through that process. It's not easy.
All right. So the next one.
All right. I feel like I should ask you too, though, right? What is the most rewarding part of your job?
Of your job?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was looking at this earlier with. So Jeff and I were just having a meeting, and we were talking about the different leadership levels, and the team is the most rewarding part of the job. We build the projects. We work with homeowners to achieve these really transformative visions, and that is definitely the keystone of success when we're working on projects. But the team that puts it together and being able to connect with them over the years and see how we grow has a different kind of gravity for me. And it's probably where I feel the biggest reward. So really appreciate and love the team that we've built here, and it's given us a lot of opportunity to work on hundreds of homes, which has been such an amazing experience. And like I mentioned earlier, when homeowners, you get to see them using the space, that is awesome. But it's hard to beat when you get to enjoy working on those things with a group of people kind of year over year.
Tell us more about your team. At the beginning, I have to share this. I invited Frank to this conversation, and he told me that he wanted to do this with the team, but basically it's kind of impossible because construction, everybody is super busy. So, but this is a moment to bring your team to the conversation and just tell me what about your team, how many people is working for this.
Sure. So we are at this point right around 30 people, and we're led by kind of a suite of directors. I'm the architect of record and the CEO of the company. We have a design director, Amber Dudley. We have our sales director, Maggie Tosh. Our build director is David Mosser. That's the core of the leadership. Co-founders Jeff Munoz and Greg Esparza. So Greg has been heading up Cross Cabin, the natural building supplies, and then Jeff is our financial controller, kind of like the CFO of the company. Manages all of our contracts and has really kind of brought us along to just a whole nother level of business discipline.
Sure. And what do you think that is important for your team as an inspiration? How do you think that people is super happy to be here and they don't want to be part of any other team because Moontower is the best?
We always work on it. We always want to work on retention, recruiting.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating 15 years this year, which is really exciting for us. Yeah, burying the lead here. But a part of sustaining that kind of growth and a place where people want to be is about listening, about working together and taking heed when people have needs, requests, flexibility, additional benefits. These are the things that help us stay together. But when it comes to each, like why it's good or why it's inspiring, it's a different answer for each person.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
We'll have people who are really oriented towards homeowner success. A lot of people who are really interested in the tactile and mechanical nature of bringing a building together. Some people are fascinated by the process, that we're really building something that's beyond any one project, that it's more about, hey, this is how we get it right time and time again. To build a better, reliable customer experience. So it's a little different for everybody in terms of like what really turns the light on and what's the inspiration, whether it's helping people, become better leaders themselves, or take on new tasks in terms of mastering their area of focus, because we are using I would say like our organizational structure to try to help people have places to stay at the company, because you expand a little bit of the scope, or you can make it a place where somebody can advance in their career without having to look elsewhere. Right? We're not just going to say, hey, we're a one small shop and everything I say is what we do. It's more collaborative and hopefully provide more opportunity for other people to have leadership roles. Yeah.
And talking about yourself, what do you think that is your main source of inspiration?
It's been shifting over time, and right now, as much as the work is the foundation for the inspiration, right? Like building beautiful homes. Like I love it when they're inspired. Inspired can mean a lot of different things for us, as I've said, and then it also means reflecting like the homeowner's inspiration by telling their story, like really tapping into the family's needs. I guess I would say that the other piece is thinking long term, like the durability and health implications of these buildings that we're making, and the kinds of materials that we work with has been more and more inspiring. Originally, I think it was about really committing to working in Central Austin and investing in these central neighborhoods that help us live closer to where we work and reduce our impact in terms of community. So we're still very inspired by that Central Austin geography. We're inspired by preserving structures and reuse to reduce the amount of new construction materials that we're using, and then the durability. When we have the patronage from the homeowners to build something that is really good, it usually means that it's of heirloom quality and it will just gain in value over time. It's not a maintenance nightmare. These are the kinds of things that really inspire us, and I think even though we might have different styles that we might be working on with different architects or on our own projects, those kind of goals are really what drive our pursuit on each project.
Great. That talks a lot about your core values.
Sure.
So, yeah. Probably this was like maybe the first question that I should do. Why Moontower? So tell us why is Moontower?
Sure. So Moontower, the name comes from Moonlight Towers, but famously abbreviated into Moontower in Dazed and Confused. The first movie with Matthew McConaughey. So for us, Moontower, it stems from that location, that central Austin location, and picking a mascot for these central neighborhoods, and wanting to be stewards of these neighborhoods ourselves. So work with these neighborhoods to not preserve them without change at all, but to guide their change and be a part of shaping these homes and these neighborhoods in Austin.
Awesome. Yeah.
So we're stewards of these neighborhoods is the way we think of them. These Moontowers are like these sentinels scattered around.
Yeah, actually, you can put it in Google Maps like Moontower, and they will give you like all
the map.
different, the map. So it's interesting if you have like some time off.
Yeah.
You want to
take a tour of the landmark Moontowers of Austin.
That's awesome. Very like. It's like something very a highlight from Austin. So
yes, it's a superlative. It's the only place in the world that has the tower still. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah. All right, so I will ask you if you could give an advice to future talents in the construction, creatives, somebody that wants to open their own business, their own firm. What would you like to recommend? Some advice? All yours.
Yeah, I feel like I've been asked this question before. I keep coming back to being like a blanket encouragement, like to just do it. Like I think it's so important to chase opportunities, chase these ideas, chase these dreams, because without those attempts, we don't have disruption or innovation, which feel like a creative act themselves, right? So I think that it's a really simple like encouragement to just do it. Like try to quiet the doubt that you might have in your mind, or don't necessarily make everything perfect before you take the lead. I haven't had the opportunity to necessarily try to like rebuild this business or like try it again, but I think that's the other piece, is that you don't have to start when you're young, that you kind of do it anytime. It feels like there's a romance to some of those stories where it's like, oh yeah, I had to lose it all before I could start something again, which is just that anything's possible anytime.
You don't have to wait for another pandemic to discover yourself and get something new or bring your endeavors to the reality, so you can do it.
But it sounds like that's how
they
gain.
We are here. So, yeah, that's great. So another question. What do you want that people keep on their mind about Moontower as I don't know, like a signature or something like in the future that they can remember about your firm?
Sure. I think that as we're in this 15-year celebration and we're thinking about the future, we're really interested in connecting, like with our community of designers and builders and architects. We spent so much time, I think, focused on project after project, and really just always trying to string together this constellation of work that we didn't take as much time to share. So yeah, that interest in our community, that we're already a part of, like that's something that we're really interested in celebrating more moving forward.
But you're doing it great. I mean, in previous seasons, I had Red Oven, and Lucia, she was sharing with us like all the idea to have the Guild Hour.
Yes, Guild Hour.
Yeah, how that started? Just share with us your version.
Absolutely. So we, as I mentioned, maybe kind of on this grind where we're really focused on looking within. Which also led us to recognize some repeat patterns where we were maxing out like the business. That led us to reaching out for coaching. We asked about like mentors earlier, and I had formative, like parents and other professional mentors but I think it was about 7 years ago, started to reach out to mentors for hire, right? Like trying to find other businesses in non-competing markets where you can, work and collaborate on your business as opposed to a single project. Through that, we participated in the Breakthrough Academy. It was a really cool and interesting program. And in that program, met JP and Lucia from Red Oven here in Austin. So we were in this program that gathers people all around all around the U.S. and Canada, and they didn't have a lot of U.S.-based customers, or especially Texas-based customers at first. So it was really cool to find somebody who was also in Austin in the program. And our coaches told us we should meet up. We did, and through the inspiration of sharing our business ideas or business progress or ups and downs in that community, we wanted to do kind of a similar thing that was in person and more of a meetup locally. We started with a couple other BTA members, Breakthrough Academy members, who were on the building side of things, and I was really passionate about including a broader spectrum, of people. And so we started to invite more designers, have a healthy mix. There's some photographers, engineers, builders. There's carpenters and trade members as well. So Guild Hour was, we thought, a name that could capture the concept of a happy hour with people who are taking their craft really seriously. So much so that they would think it was fun to keep the conversation going.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
And that is part of the magic of the Guild Hour. I was invited by Mari with Cosentino.
Yes.
So
Mari's awesome.
Yeah, Mari's awesome. So yeah, I remember that the first time that I went to the Guild Hour was probably in April, May. It was hot. I mean, Austin. So, but kind of the magic that I like from there is that everybody's sharing the experience that they are living. If they can recommend you someone, if you are looking for a trade, or if you're looking for a specific thing that you can share with others, that's amazing. And that is part of create a community. It's not only going to networking events. It's not only that. It's just like share your experience, share your frustration as well.
Yes,
because we are everybody in the same boat, and as much as you can share with everybody, you are part of the community. So that's amazing. And
thank you for mentioning that.
Congratulations about that.
We really loved Guild Hour, being a part of hosting it, and stay tuned. We're hopefully gonna build on the idea. We had a lot of people, even from other markets, be really interested in the concept. So,
all right.
Yeah,
that's
maybe
awesome.
We can get more people talking and sharing in this way, because I do think that Austin is pretty magical in the support that the creative community gives to each other. And I wanted to also mention that it takes some maintenance to maintain that type of culture. As Austin is growing and there's more pressure to for people moving here, that it can pretty easily turn into something else. Right? And so that spirit of sharing, I think, is something really important in Austin. I really would love to be a part of keeping it that way.
Yeah, we are not competitors. We are here to share, and this is how it started.
It's wonderful. Creative Blueprints is an exact.
That is part of that, but in a kind of podcast. That's great. All right, well, thank you so much, Frank. I know that you have like 48,000 more things that you have to do.
No, thank you so much, Nancy. This has been one.
So thank you for sharing all of your experiences. Share with us again, where are your offices, where we can find Moontower, the website, social media, how people can reach you out.
Yes, we're over on Airport Boulevard in the Govali neighborhood. 828 Airport is our headquarters. And you can see us at Moontower Austin on Instagram, and Our website is moontoweraustin.com.
All right. So yeah, well, thank you so much again for sharing this with me, and thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you like it. Do not forget to like in the bottom and subscribe and all of those kind of things that everybody is saying in the videos, so we can continue doing a lot of videos like this. Thank you again, Frank, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.